Hello, welcome back. This is part 4 of this lecture going from early Christian art all the way to the Gothic. And if we had all the time in the world, it'd be great for us to look at a number of Gothic cathedrals and some of the differences. But the main things that I'd like to point out are just some of the elements of the Gothic cathedral that are example of continuation, that we still see that fundamental structure, the basilica type structure with the aisles on either side. We see the idea of the cross shape becoming even more important and more overt. Um, but then with the Gothic, we see other things. We see the use of pointed arches, the use of these Gothic ribbed vaults. They're groin vaults, but they're also ribbed, and it gives them extra strength and allows them to reach much higher and to just completely transform the effect. If we go back for a second and we look here at an example from the Romanesque, St. Sernin, we see a church that still, as magnificent as it is, as tall as it is still about some of the same things that ancient architecture was about. It is still about the communication of weight, the believability of weight. And with the Gothic, communication of weight is maybe still there, but it becomes almost about the opposite of, it becomes about weightlessness. It becomes about the sense of the architecture rising up and becoming almost heavenly, almost ethereal. And another aspect of the difference is that with Gothic churches, in order for them to reach that high and to have that sort of really light rib, that kind of thin wall feel that they do, a lot of the support has to be pushed outside of the church, where we start getting buttresses, and buttresses that are not simply just solid, but then become a series of arches. Here, let me show you. I was pointing with my actual finger. That doesn't work. I have to point with the cursor. A series of arches that support each other. And this is referred to as a flying buttress. So instead of simply just a heavier part of the wall attached to the outside of a wall, it becomes much more complex architecturally. And then, since you have to have these things on, they become decorative, and they become, in a way, also a means of talking about the same thing that the interior is talking about, which is about this constant movement upwards, a kind of a focus on the heavens, quite literally. And But Gothic art also saw a lot of developments in painting. I'm going to use this one example from Duccio, but we could have just as easily have been talking about a piece from Giotto of just about the same time period. But I thought the Duccio represented kind of a more Gothic feel, and so there's a lot of exciting things happening in the Gothic period. And I guess the last thing I want to emphasize is that we tend to assume that Europe was dark and unenlightened up to the point that, the Renaissance hits. It's like it's not until we actually have people who share names with the Ninja Turtles that we think anything really important is happening. But actually, the late Gothic was just as important, just as cultured, just as interested in the arts and in um, developing beautiful art forms as the Renaissance was. And then, in a way, we couldn't have had the Renaissance if we didn't have the Gothic and the late Gothic. Um, okay, that is the end of all of these lectures. Thank you very much.